What's up, guys? Welcome to the Line Change. In this video, we're going to be talking about a wild card trade target for the Vancouver Canucks. One that, up until now, that not a lot of people have been talking about or maybe referring to. I know a lot of people have been on the whole Sam Bennett bandwagon. Talking about Sam Bennett would make a good trade target for the Canucks. Among others. Nikolai Ehlers as well has been talked about a lot, but feel as though this player in particular hasn't really been talked about until I guess now, as this is I managed to find an article that talked about this player as a potential trade target, and I thought it was very interesting. So let's go ahead and talk about it. As you can tell from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about Detroit Red Wings captain and center Dylan Larkin, who could be a potential trade target in the offseason. This article is coming to us from our friends at Canucks Army, Jacob Fraser in particular. This article was published technically yesterday. Actually, I believe I saw it while I was at work and just, scrolling. I happened to stumble upon it and I was like, oh, I need to do a video on that and talk about it. So that's why we're here. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. And then after I finish reading the article, I'll go into my sponsor read, and then I will give my opinion on this possibility of the Canucks targeting Dylan Larkin. So let's go ahead and dive in. Following the frustration Dylan Larkin showed at his end-of-season press conference with the Detroit Red Wings management, he becomes a possible target for the Vancouver Canucks to trade for, with the hopes of adding a true top six centerman. The Red Wings captain has heard his name involved in trade rumors in the past, before he signed his long-term deal in Detroit, now showing his frustration with management for not adding to the roster at the NHL trade deadline. He could be on the lookout for a team on the come-up and in the playoff hunt. Larkin is an elite speedster who has consistently produced at a high level, registering 69 or more points in each of the past 4 seasons. Not only has Larkin been right around the 70-point mark the past few seasons, but he's also scored 30 or more goals over that time. His speed is certainly the first thing that jumps off the page, which would be a much-needed addition to the Canucks' top six. Larkin's goal scoring is underrated, and he's an excellent playmaker at the NHL level. Though he hasn't played a single playoff game since his rookie year in the 2016 playoffs. Wow, it's been that long. It's been almost 10 years. He proved this year at the Four Nations Faceoff that he's capable of rising to the occasion in big games against the league's best players, where he led the tournament in points with 7 in 5 games. His contract carries an $8.7 million AAV over the next 6 seasons. This is already a very fair deal for the kind of player he is, and with a salary cap set to go up substantially over the next few years, it could age very well. Let's talk about the fit. This previous one that I had read talked about the player himself, and this is they have it in categories, and this one is called the fit. With the Red Wings, Larkin is currently listed as their first-line center with Lucas Raymond and Jonathan Berggren. On his wings. He centers their top power play unit, which clicked at a 27% clip this season, ranking 4th best in the NHL. Larkin is a player who can compete with Elias Pettersson for the Canucks' top-line center spot. However, assuming Pettersson takes some steps this offseason to get back to his game, we can pencil in Larkin as the team's second-line centerman. On the Canucks' second line, Larkin would be a great fit with Niels Höglander on one of his wings. The pair would play with a ton of speed and would be a tough matchup for any opposing defense off the rush. Alongside the two, Brock Besser would be a great fit, although it seems pretty unlikely at this point that he returns to the Canucks. Another good fit on the right wing might be Kiefer Sherwood. Sherwood is not an ideal second-line winger, but his speed and shot would make him a solid fit on a line with Larkin and Höglander. Larkin would also immediately join the Canucks' top power play unit, either on the left flank or in the bumper spot, if the team decides to bring that back. His speed and playmaking ability would be an asset to have on the left flank. However, his scoring ability would also make him a threat in the bumper spot. His position on the power play might depend on how Canucks management decides to fill the rest of the roster this offseason. But no matter what they end up bringing in, Larkin would be on that top unit. Now let's talk about what it might cost the Vancouver Canucks. Trading for Larkin might be a challenge, as the player has a no-trade clause. However, his connection to Quinn Hughes, both being University of Michigan alums and former Red Wing Philip Hronek, would entice him to waive his clause if the Canucks called the Red Wings about a trade. Getting the Red Wings to accept an offer is going to be the real challenge here. Larkin is the team's captain, a Michigan native, and has been the face of their franchise for almost 10 years. That being said, Red Wings GM Steve Yzerman has never been afraid of making big moves. This deal starts with either defenseman Elias Pettersson or Tom Willander. The Red Wings might be more intrigued by Pettersson because they have Mo Seider and Axel Sandin Pellikka on the right side in their organization and are lacking in young NHL defensemen on the left. Along with Pettersson, the Canucks would have to add a pair of picks, including their 2025 first-round pick, which will likely be this year's 16th overall, and a young centerman like Atu Ratu. If the Canucks are serious about bringing in a established top six centerman, then Dylan Larkin could be the best option out there to create an elite 1-2 punch with Elias Pettersson. What do you think, Canucks fans? Is Dylan Larkin worth the high price, or should Canucks management look elsewhere? Let us know in the comments below. So there's that article. Very interesting stuff. I love the breakdown of the type of player that Dylan Larkin is. I loved, highlighting the fit and how he would fit on this Canucks team. And actually, after reading this article, I'm all in on this trade possibility and this, trade target. But before we discuss it in a little bit of detail, let me do my sponsor read, and then we'll go ahead and dive right in and break it all. Are you looking for an energy drink that is jitter-free, crash-free, no sugars, no artificial colors or dyes, and no calories? Then Dubby Energy is for you. With over 15 plus unique custom-made flavors, go ahead and get a starter sampler pack, which includes 3 different flavors. Use code TheLineChange to get 10% off your next purchase. Dubby Energy, your taste buds' favorite energy drink. All right, so let's go over this article and break it all down. I'm gonna just look at some bits and pieces, and let's talk a little bit about the fit. I completely agree with Jacob Fraser here on the fit. He, obviously he could most certainly compete with Elias for the top line center spot. I do know technically they had Elias as the top line center when JT was still here. Excuse me. When JT was still here, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe at some points they had Miller in the top line center role, and Elias in the second line center role. So they could easily do that again if they were to acquire Dylan Larkin. And I do agree he would be a great fit with Niels Höglander, as you take speed from Höglander and you add more speed from Larkin. Plus, with Larkin being a playmaker, I think that would be a very solid line between at least those two. Obviously, if you add someone the caliber of like Brock Besser or another winger, maybe even Sherwood, or even if you don't end up trading Lekkerimäki in this trade, imagine a line of Niels Höglander, Dylan Larkin, and Jonathan Lekkerimäki on your second unit. Obviously, there's probably a good chance that Larkin would be on the first line with Petey. But if you wanted to test him at the second line, see his chemistry with a guy like Larkin, you could go that route as well. You could also have Garland maybe on the wing with Larkin, as Garland has some speed to his game as well. He's also very crafty, so I could really see a Larkin, Höglander, and Garland as your second line. But let's move down to the cost and go into detail a little bit about the cost. Obviously, it's going to take a haul in order to get a player the caliber of Dylan Larkin. I do agree that it's going to have to start with either DPD or Tom Willander, as those are your two big trade chips. I personally, I'm leaning more towards Willander than I am DPD, simply because of how valuable DPD is to this Canucks team, and obviously with the uncertainty surrounding Willander and his intent to go back to school for not just next season, but perhaps the next couple years, really makes him a big trade piece or a trade chip. I do agree with, them having to include their 2025 first round pick, maybe even throw in the 2026 first round pick, maybe do a couple of first round picks. Could entice the Detroit Red Wings, who are looking to get back into the playoff hunt and be a contending team once again. And most likely looking to get younger as well. And yes, I agree with, including a young centerman like, Atu Ratu. So I completely agree with the, I don't know if you want to call this a proposed trade, but, the likes of DPD, Willander, couple first round picks, and then a young centerman like Ratu could entice the Detroit Red Wings. Obviously with Larkin locked up for the next 6 years, and at a reasonable cap hit, it's just over. Where was it? God, I've lost my. Yeah. So it's 8.7, which is not too terrible for a guy the caliber of Dylan Larkin. Obviously, we mentioned talking about him as a player. Been a 70-point guy for the past few seasons. He's scored 30 or more goals. Everyone also remembers at the start of this season, Larkin was on fire at the start of the season, along with Alex DeBrincat. They were putting up goals and putting up points like crazy at the start of the season, and obviously that kind of fell off a little bit halfway and later on into the season. But it really shined at the beginning of the season, and a lot of teams or people that didn't really follow the Detroit Red Wings definitely took notice of Larkin and just the way he was playing at the start of the season. So yeah, 8.7 is not too terrible, and I'd be willing to, take on that cap hit if we were able to acquire Dylan Larkin. Especially as the article mentions, talking about the salary cap going up substantially over the next few years. It definitely could age very well. And, the more and more I talk about this and, keep looking at this article, I am all in for this. As I mentioned, I'm all in for this trade. And I really do hope that Alvin and Rutherford take a look at either this article itself or see people talking about Dylan Larkin, and maybe it might, put a little birdie in their ear and, maybe look into this for the off season. Obviously, Rutherford mentioned at the end of season post press conference, they're more likely to get their second line center via a trade than in free agency. So this could be one way. And I think this would make a lot of Vancouver Canucks fans very happy if they got a player at the caliber of Dylan Larkin. Obviously, the Red Wings would not like it very much, as they'd be losing their captain and a very good player. But if Larkin is, wanting out of Detroit and has lost faith in Yzerman and their direction, obviously, he's got a no trade, as it's mentioned in the article. But and they make a really good point with him knowing Quinn Hughes and having played with Quinn when he was younger. So I'm just trying to find that spot talking about his no trade. Right here. Yeah, his connection to Quinn, and then obviously, Philip Hronek being a former Red Wing could very well entice him to waive his clause. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys like the idea of Canucks potentially targeting Dylan Larkin and attempting to trade for him and acquiring him in a trade? Do you guys like the trade proposal, I guess you would say, involving DPD or Willander, maybe a couple first round picks, and then a young center like Atu Ratu for Dylan Larkin? Do you guys like that deal? Do you guys think the Red Wings would go for it? Personally, I mean, I don't want to say that I think they would, but I think it would certainly get Yzerman's attention for sure. So once again, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to The Line Change and want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, go ahead and smash that subscribe button and hit that little bell to stay notified every single time we upload a video. Find us on social media, on Twitter /X at Line Change Van, on Instagram at The Line Change, and then you can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change, and you should be able to find our Facebook page. If you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Feel free to rate and review us on said podcast platforms. And that's going to do it for this video. As always, go Canucks go, and I'll see you guys in the next video.